Well, today I'm going to go get my fat ass off my couch and go to the post office and put these pens in the mail for my friend Cedar. And he's looking forward to some Pier pens. And I was thinking that the three that I just got back from another person um, might find a new home with Cedar. I'm not saying, Cedar, that these are rejects by any means. Um, as a calligrapher, he wanted things that were a little more flexible. Now, Cedar is a illustrator. Um, he writes too, I believe, um, and his illustrations can be very cartoony looking. They look like a cartoon. They have a image here and an image there and an image here, and then you sort of read them like you would a comic strip. Sometimes they make sense as a comic strip. Visually, they sort of work. There's no words, you have to add them yourself. Um, but there's a relationship that between them that looks sort of cartoon like. Uh, here's how I imagine it. Let's say you take a typical comic strip from the Sunday newspaper, which might have, two different strips on it, and you mate that with the stone carvings on a Mayan temple, and that you'll end up with Cedar's work. The stone calligraphy or writing, I guess is what you'd call it. Those are those square glyphs that they finally decoded and figured out what the heck they mean. That's a word or a syllable. And it might have a skull and a snake and a duck on it. And then this one over here might have two ducks and a snake and a tennis ball or whatever they have. But the neat thing about the Incan glyphs are there wasn't a standardized way to make a skull. It didn't have to look like this. It could be teeth, hole. It could look different than that. And I don't know if it could be a profile. That might have been a different word or a different syllable, but there was a lot of freedom that artists or even an artist could use in creating these things. And that's sort of what Cedar's work is like. And I really find it interesting because part of your brain wants to turn this into a story because it looks kind of like your thing there, or even like this. But part of your brain doesn't see that connection because the words or the images don't always look uh, as if they are part of the same story. I should just show you what his work looks like. I don't think he'll mind. How do I make this thing work? There we go. Cedar Bylard. And now I'm trying to find an example of what I was telling you about, and I'm not finding a single one. Here's one. So this has words, most of them. Mike to go. No. something. Anyway, picture. You sort of read them. I imagine he draws them this way from left to right and from top to bottom. And they are, see, there's those glyphs right there. Here, I didn't even see this drawing until just now. So I wasn't entirely wrong in the way I described these things. But clearly he draws in a very interesting way. He's not hesitant. He makes a line with conviction. Some people draw, let's say they were planning on drawing something that looks like a circle. Sometimes I see people drawing like this where they seem insecure about their drawing, and Cedar makes a circle. It may not be a circle. It may be an ellipse, or it might be sort of squished, or this line doesn't meet up with that line. But he draws it with conviction. Each stroke looks like it's attacked with vigor and vim. So the pens I'm thinking he would like the most are ones that sort of seem a little aggressive, I guess, if that makes sense. Makes sense to me. Whether it makes sense to him or not, I do not know. But I just thought that this one, it's a little Waterman. I told him that, I'm sending him pens that may not be perfect. This is missing its clip, but so what? The other ones are fine, but this one is missing its clip. But it has a nice sort of rubbery Waterman nib, somewhat calligraphic, but really it's really a good one to draw with, this one. And the size of it is kind of neat. The shortness of it, with it not posted, is sort of fun to have a pen that's short. Another one that I'm sending him is this one, which is very long and elegant. This is the one that I was saying speaks in a in a whisper. This is for the screenwriter to do the love scene between the two heroes, or hero and heroine, or the two heroines, let's say it's a modern film. There's a three-way going on here, so it's an MMF thing going on in our love scene. Oh, darling. No, I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to you, the darling. What sort of dialogue would that be? If it was Romeo and Banquo and Juliet. That would have been more. I would have liked to read that play. What lights through yonder window breaks? It's both of them. Shakespeare, get with the program, Billy. So anyway, this is another one that I think he might like to do drawings with. He could do an entire, quote, comic strip page on the back of a business card with this pen. Lots of little tiny things. The other one is this Webster pen that has this really beefy nib. This was the one that played the brother on yesterday's installment of the soap opera that I was discussing. This is, very sort of stern and aggressive. I'm not going to send Cedar this pen though. This is now back in my little hands, and I think I'm going to keep it for the moment. It's a stub pen that's somewhat flexible, and I do have if it's not going to go to me, I do have a customer that has been looking for one of these in a long while, and I may sell it to him. It's a good pen to draw with, but I think it belongs in the hands of a calligrapher, or in my hands. I haven't decided, but that's the plan. So Cedar's going to get these three. Maybe I'll throw in another one by the time I put my shoes on and package these up and make my way to the post office this morning. But that's the plan. These three, and I think he'll like all of them actually, but he doesn't have to buy all of them. When I know people like him and you and you and you and you and you, I'm hello there. I feel comfortable sending a bunch of pens without getting money for them first. He, if I don't know anyone and they want me to send pens, you get to send me the money first, and I send you pens. But you can return the ones you don't want, and I'll give you your money back. What I try to do is I try to give people a choice. It's not just one pen. I try to make people, especially those that are using them. I'm not talking about pen collectors. They can get just one pen because that's all they want. They only want this one, the rare one, or the one that they need for their collection, or the one that, but it's if it's someone who's going to be using pens to draw or write with or do calligraphy with, those, I think a variety is actually kind of fun. So someone said good morning to me on chat, Gabe Madorma. I don't know who Gabe. Do I know who you are, Gabe Madorma? Have I met you yet? Is that your real name, Gabe? These pens are hard to do writing, hard to write with. I just realized these are not easy to do cursive with because the shape of the nib, it sort of wants to, it's like being on skates. A pair of ice skates want to go in this direction. The the direction of the metal piece, and that's what these are like. It's like they want to go that way. You can make them turn, but it's not easy to do cursive. You can do sort of angular Germanic script. This is very much a pen for a writer, not maybe a hatcher. Maybe a drawer can draw with it using this sort of line work. But to do a really full flowing drawing, this is not a pen that would work for them because it keeps wanting to go in one direction. If I was drawing, the huge thunder clouds over a city or a mushroom cloud, let's just make it more realistic. Here's our mushroom cloud over New York City. And to make these big, long, swoopy lines, I can do that with this pen because there's a rounded nib here, which sort of allows me to make a curve without getting stuck on the side stroke. Whereas that italic nib, when I get to this point, it's going to want to stay that way. It's sort of the shape of the nib sort of wants it to do that. So, Gabe, is that your name, Gabe? I'll pretend it's your name. Oh, well, nice to meet you, Gabe. Where are you from in the real world? What what city or country or hemisphere do you reside? In which you reside? In what country or city or hemisphere do you reside? Gabe. This pen wants to write your name. That's how you're going to do it? Okay. Richmond, Virginia. And how many pens do you have? Imagine you own pens. I just put this pen together. I wonder if should I send this to Cedar? Would he find this one interesting or not? It's really prickly. This is a Frankenpen pen. Do you have vintage or modern or both? And what do you do with your pens? Vintage or modern or both? Are you a writer, journalist, journal keeper? Modest collection. Gabe. Now this nib is a little damaged. It has like one molecule of iridium that it shares between its. No, iridium isn't a molecule. Iridium is an atom. One atom of iridium that is shared. The atom is split. Half of it's on this side and half of it's on that side of the breather hole. Good. Do you, are you in school? Is that where you take notes, or do you take notes in the big boardroom of the multi-international conglomeration you own? and control with an iron fist. And your notes you take are, need more money, need more power. Is that what the notes you take? Chemistry student, okay. Is there a molecule you can make using iridium? Does iridium make molecules? And when you draw, do you draw compounds and with little atoms and bonds and things like that? Or do you draw bowls of fruit and landscapes and things like that? What do you draw? Or do you doodle? I don't know who's going to get this pen. Maybe I'll just keep it. I've got a collection of pens. I probably have the largest collection of pens that are missing clips ever. That's my collection. Gabe, would you like to join me here? Can I invite you and you can I'll be here and you'll be there and we can talk without having to type? You were using it, okay. You were making a new product called Dinosaur Be Gone. Ladies, do you have dinosaurs in your kitchen? Use this iridium beryllium compound called Dinosaur Be Gone. Well, let me invite you then. Copy to clipboard, copied, paste. And what you have to do when it's going to ask you, it'll open up a window in Safari or whatever your browser is, and then you turn off YouTube so there's not an echo. Dinosaur away. I remember there was a product called Replens that was this. My ex-boyfriend, it was a vaginal hydration device, and he described it. He said, I saw one of them at a store, and he said, it looks like a fire extinguisher with a silencer on it. So Replens was the name of the product, which is still being made. And he and I and some other people were coming up with better names for it, like Muff So Moist. Was the favorite. Pussy Doo. Okay, this is not made for children. Okay, we all know that. And if you just choked on your coffee because of these funny things, it's worth it, right? Okay, the official. Okay, I see you. I will now add to stream. Gabriel,
Hey, can you hear me?
Hello, Gabriel. I can hear you. And I can see that you're
Awesome.
using Brand X lined paper.
Yeah, I'm trying to copy your setup here so you can
Okay,
see.
well, we're doing a
my
good
hand.
job. We have it at the same angle, more or less. We have our pen in our hand. There we are. And you're using, there's you and I both have pens that don't have clips. So that one has a accommodation clip, they're called. And what company is that?
Oh, this is a little more.
A little more? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I
So more from Boston, Massachusetts.
yeah. I picked it up because of its. Well, the nib looked kind of flexible, and I was lurking on eBay for something that was inexpensive.
Okay.
And that was it.
Good.
But I like it. Yeah.
So let's see your new signature.
I can't remember. You did like
I just
G,
made
right?
I made a G that looks kind of like it looks like a big little G. It's how you'd make the G in the word thing, but I made the G big.
And then you did like 1,000
And then I did that
here.
for about 10 minutes. Yep. Good.
And it was like A.
Yeah.
E.
I have a theory that calligraphy is the capital letters and the rest of it is just spelling. So,
Yeah.
Or in my case, misspelling. But good.
I appreciate that.
No, you are calligraphing with. You're doing it exactly the right way. You're moving your arm. You're not moving your fingers. How long have you been doing this kind of work?
I wouldn't say I've been doing any kind of work. It's more of a just gradually kind of happened.
Okay.
Maybe over the past couple of years, but I wouldn't call myself a calligrapher such as yourself.
Okay. Well, I don't either. I mean, don't tell my clients that, but I write calligraphically. I will admit that. But I'm not a calligrapher by any means. But you're doing right now what professional calligraphers are supposed to do, and what some of them never do. Some of them do writing like this, where they just use their fingers, and I do that too. I mean, it's doable, but learning that your entire arm can be used to make a letter is important.
Yeah, I started on that because it seemed a lot more fun, and I mean, it's important for like drawing to make big lines. I feel like
Yeah.
or you just have like a conglomerate of like little sort of things that don't really fit together.
And your drawings,
you know?
the drawings end up looking like they're hairy. Like
exactly.
your Persian cat made them, rather than a human. When I was, I have a friend, fountain pen user. I found out after, I didn't realize this until I met him, but he had all these fountain pens. He's a pianist named Peter Minton, and he plays the piano. He plays the kind of songs that I like, stuff from the 20s and 30s and 40s. And in his house, he had some illustrations he bought from a New York publishing house that was went out of business, and they had all these original drawings that they were selling, and these were drawings that were done by Charles Dana Gibson and Montgomery Flagg, and you know those names?
I'm afraid I don't. I don't really
Okay.
have any
Well,
education.
Montgomery Flagg, you would know his most famous poster is Uncle Sam pointing at you saying, we want
Oh
you.
yeah.
So that's his most famous piece. Charles Dana Gibson was a illustrator in popular in the early part of the 20th century. He was famous for his Gibson girls, and they were often very fashionable, beautiful young women wearing very fashionable frilly frocks and
Hmm?
fun hats, and he would do these pen and ink drawings of them. And his both of them would make with a dip pen, just with a pen in a bottle of ink, they would make a line that was maybe 20 inches long. And then they would go up to the top and make another line that's 20 inches long. And they were all perfectly parallel to one another. And you don't do that by drawing with your fingers. You have to use your entire body to be able to make a straight line that's 20 inches long and another one next to it. You really, let me just find one of their images for you. You keep doodling here. I'll be right back.
This is not. This is not parallel. Yes.
Well, I can't, I'll just find him online here. Uh, uh, but when I saw the original drawings, here I thought the drawings that James Montgomery Flagg made that were in a magazine that are printed this big, I thought maybe the drawing would be that big, but it was
Mhm.
like a poster size. It was huge. Um, uh, Montgomery Emery Flagg drawing.
I guess it's like when you put like a drawing on Instagram and everyone and people say like, "Oh, it's so detailed," but it's really just shrunk down tiny.
It
Right?
it it is shrunk down. It still might be detailed, but um, for example, this drawing here of
Ah,
this is James Montgomery. So it's all crosshatch lines, but the lines of that dress, the vertical lines making that shadow, might be 10 inches long. And to be able to make a line with a dip pen, especially to where I would think you'd have to have enough ink on that pen to make those 10 lines, because if you stop and go dip it again and then come back and try to copy that line, it's going to be a little hard. Cross
right.
hatching, I can draw, lots of parallel lines, but it's my memory in my fingers and my brain or whatever that's allowing me to do that. If I were to do this and then dip it and then come back and do it again, it's not going to look as good. So anyway, that's Montgomery Flagg. Um, Gibson
Come on.
Gibson was I don't know whether Gibson painted at all. I think all of his drawings, all of his work was black and white drawings. Charles Dana Gibson.
Yeah, that was an amazing work right there.
Um, so here's a typical Gibson girl. Lots of hair piled on top of each other. And uh, beautiful porcelain
Yeah.
face. Uh, the
Really like how he does that hair. It's like
Yeah, I mean, it's
mesmerizing.
obvious that he just, the hairier the lady, the better it was. Um, and so, but anyway, looking at the original drawings, they were much bigger than I would have thought.
Mm.
So, what do you draw when you draw?
I haven't been drawing as much lately, but mostly like wildlife,
Okay,
I'd say. I take a lot of photos
and
of
you work
like
from photos then.
cranes and stuff, and then I wouldn't say I work like directly from them, but I'll like look at a bunch of them to get a general idea of how something looks like, and then I'll like try
Okay.
to like draw it or conglomerate it in my head and just
Uh-huh.
like do a bunch of fast doodles and then stick with one of them
Oh,
for
good.
like the general shape.
I um I I try not to use photographs if I can help it, but often I have to. Someone wants me to do a house portrait for an engraving, and I have to use photographs. And sometimes I'm asked to draw a picture of someone's dead cat, and I have to use a photograph. But um, people that can actually draw from life, an actual living animal, is amazing. You have to. I think you have to really understand the anatomy of the creature
Yeah.
because they don't stay still long enough for you to
Yeah.
draw it. You might be able to get the neck and a head of a horse drawn enough to sort of
You could just get some quick
get a,
circles,
get
maybe.
that, and then you do the details of it later. But to capture the, like what's his name uh, draw all those buffalo stampedes and stuff. It was interesting back in the olden days before cameras. Actually, after cameras, but before uh, Muybridge did his experiments with animal locomotion. Um, People didn't know how horses ran, and
Mm.
Degas would do these paintings of these horses, which um, were supposed to be running at the racetrack. And let's see if I can do a drawing. So here's the horse, and it has a jockey on it.
All
And
right.
here's the horse's head. And here's how he had the horse running with all of its legs going out, which they don't do.
It's like a rabbit.
But that's how they thought they worked, because they didn't know. They looked like they were doing that, but your eye didn't catch it. That there's always, I think there's always a foot on the ground, at least 1 foot of a horse that's on the ground. They might do that. I didn't even see. This is where I get confused. I don't know how legs on horses work until I realize that this part of here's the hoof, that this part is the wrist. That's the wrist bone.
Mm.
That's not the elbow. The elbow is a completely different. What we think is an elbow on an animal is actually this bone, the wrist bone, whatever this joint is.
Right. Right.
So they seem, shit. When you look at them, they think, well, how do their legs work? Here's their body, and here's your hook. Does it go like this, or does it go? Because then you try to make it have a knee. You want the knee to be here, but then there's this other thing, and then anyway, it's just, you know how to do it because you draw wildlife.
Not that much. I mostly draw
Okay.
birds, actually.
Birds?
So
Okay.
I'm not up to par on horse anatomy.
Okay.
I'd imagine it takes 2 legs, or at least 1 leg on the ground.
Yeah.
But for some reason in my head, it takes 2 legs on the
Well,
ground.
don't go
But
away
that
because
might be.
I will come back with the proof we need. Well, again, I cannot find where that book is. So we have our trusty brain here. Muybridge, Meybridge, horse. Now they do, you know, a gallop is different than a trot, and that's different than something else. But, oh, so here it looks like no feet are on the ground there.
Okay. So there's 1.
And here they're both going out in the same direction. But there's always something, there seems to be pretty much something on the ground.
So,
Except for that one.
That makes sense, because if you don't have anything,
but they're not going all out. They're not sticking all out. I'll see if I can find that picture, the painting of Degas horse racing.
Gotta get my phone charging real quick.
Okay.
Shouldn't take a couple seconds.
Was it Degas or what? Who was it?
Do you mind if I ask you about a pen? I have a pen I'd love to
Yeah, ask away.
It's just this thing I've got. Have you seen a pen that has like all these smoothness sample engravings on it?
I can't see. Describe it again. What is it?
So it's this Schaefer, right?
Yeah.
And it's got these engravings. It's I guess it was like from the factory or something.
Yeah.
It says smooth sample 6163, which I guess is the date, and this is broad number 3.
Okay. Well, that would have been something. So for example, just a minute, pinch 2, whatever. Here's someone who painted a horse before photographic.
Rabbit horse. You see,
where
it almost doesn't look right. It almost looks like
it's where it's flying.
Yeah.
Maybe the dog is flying as well, but you know, it
like
took a while. Okay, so what that was, if does it only have that one engraving?
Oh, it's got on the section it has engravings as well. So on the section it has engravings that say broad number 3, and then it has around here it's got like a light Schaefer USA engraving.
Yeah.
And then here it's got more like smoothness sample.
Okay. Those I've never seen one, so it's kind of rare. After a fashion, They were probably that pen would have probably been part of a set that was sent to a pen dealer. And you would, the dealer, you'd come into your shop and you'd say, I'm looking for a pen. Well, what kind of pen do you want? Well, I really don't know. And they'll say, well, here's the kind of nibs that we sell for this model. And you try it out and you pick the one you like, and it's the broad smooth or whatever it is. So that would have been given to the salesman at a retail store for their customers to try.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Is that a touchdown?
That
the Schaefer.
Yeah. The Schaefer is a touchdown. Yeah. This one that I'm holding right here is not a touchdown.
That's a lever fill.
Okay. Yeah, this is not. This is just a junior balance. I really like these junior balances.
They're really. I prefer the thinner pens to the senior sizes almost all the time.
Yeah, me too. I don't understand the vintage world. It's like I never understand what sells for a lot of money and what doesn't.
Well, it cost a lot of money at the beginning, when you would buy it at the store, just like a bigger car would cost more money than the little one. Status symbol, everything else that you buy big things for. In terms of, sometimes people do require a bigger pen. People who have arthritis might have a hard time holding a pen that's thinner. Are you eating candy?
No, I was going to ask you. Sounds like there's some static. I wonder if it's because I'm on my phone and not a computer.
It might be. Yeah, it just sounds like you're chomping on ice cubes.
No,
and bubble wrap. You're eating bubble wrap.
Should I attempt to switch to a laptop?
No, just it wasn't doing it before. It might be because did you say you put the charger in?
Yeah, but I just took it out and it doesn't seem to be. It's when you're talking, so it's like the connection going from you to me.
I see.
I think is.
Yeah. Okay. What was your other question you had?
Oh, I didn't have another one. I was just wondering what I had acquired there.
What you had acquired?
Yeah, that Schaefer pen you just told me about.
Oh, okay.
The touchdown,
I thought there was another question you had.
I really like your pen drawings. The two that I saw were the one you have the Waterman. It's like up like this. Or
yeah.
It has its on. It's a knight. I thought that was really cool. And then you've got the other one. That's the is it like
launch of the olive,
the Schaefer or something? Or is it that's
the Parker 51? Yeah,
Parker 51. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, they were fun to draw. I love drawing things as if they were huge. The making pens look like skyscrapers or humans or whatever. So what is that one?
This is a modern pen.
Okay.
For some reason it's messing with me, but it's got a pretty cool flexi nib on it.
Okay.
It's kind of like the this was because I don't have like a lot of vintage flex because I don't get to like sample like 1,000 pens and choose the good ones. So, but this has got like a like the Indian flex nibs, like the noodle.
Oh yeah.
It's like that, except the sides are cut out, so it makes it a lot
more flexible.
Softer,
yeah.
More flexible.
Yeah. Good. Osni from Italy said, "Hi guys, who has a horse that's eating near him?" So that's the noise that we hear. And Sandra says the sound quality is bad. So again, I don't know. I think it's probably coming from your side, but he'll come back. Hello again. Gabriel.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't hear the crackly noise now. Oh, I hear it a little bit.
I hear some. I'm changing my
Yeah.
settings around to
Okay.
try to account for such.
I can only chat for a little longer because my stomach is telling me it's time for me to have breakfast. And but do you have any other quick statements or questions? Hello. I know it's not on purpose. Anyway, I need to head out, so I'm going to say goodbye now, but thank you for joining me, and let's do it again. Send me in an email some of your drawings. I'd love to see what they are. My email is piergustafsonstudio@gmail.com, or you can find me on Instagram. If you're on Instagram, find me there. Oh, you're back. You're back. Let's see. Add to stream. Hello again.
Hello. Well, that
Okay.
sounds better. I didn't
It
do that
sounds
on purpose.
it sounds a little better. Yeah. I'd love to see the drawing. Are you on Instagram at all?
Yeah, I don't have anything. Hold on,
Okay.
I've got a sketchbook, so I'm gonna show you a couple right
Yeah,
here.
I'd love to see.
And then you got to get some food, and I
Yeah,
gotta
then
go
I have to get some food in me, and then I have to go to the post office. So I've
got some pens to sell.
I have some pens to send to someone. Whether he buys it or not, I don't know. But it's my friend Cedar in California.
Oh, well, that's exciting for Cedar.
Yeah. Oh wow.
There's
A Medusa,
jellyfish.
a whatever they're called, jellyfish.
I'm not sure if this is the sort of jellyfish that exists in real life. It's more, when you draw a jellyfish, you don't really need to draw something real.
No, you just have to make all sorts of it's like Charles Dana Gibson would have loved drawing jellyfish.
There's not a lot of fleshed out. Here's a scribbled lady.
Uh-huh. Oh wow.
Got another jellyfish.
No, they're beautiful. They're
Oh, thank you.
I'll try to follow your plan here and draw jellyfish. There's some trees.
That's quite fun. Here we got
and a bird.
And
I saw a bird. I see a
heron.
bird. Okay, heron.
It is
Okay,
kind of
neat.
a hairy heron,
A furry heron. Yeah, one of the rare. It's big beak. It's the the Bigfoot of birds. Big hairy heron.
I mean, it's called a heron for a reason, right?
It's kind of called a heron for a reason. Good.
But yeah,
those are
this
great.
might have been before I opened up my range of motion a little bit. But
I belong to the Boston Urban Sketchers group, and we often go to the Harvard Natural History Museum, and they've got gobs and gobs and gobs of stuffed birds and stuffed anything, and they're really fun to draw. Those feathers, you can just get lost in the texture of featherdom.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely.
I tend to like to draw using when I do those kinds of drawings. I tend to like to draw using pencil for some reason. though it doesn't make sense that I should. It seems like the drawing with pen would be better, but anyway. Okay, Gabriel, it was really nice meeting you. And
Yeah, it's a pleasure talking to you.
we'll talk another time, I hope. So
yeah, hopefully I can figure out my connection.
okay, good. Well, we'll see you later. Bye. Bye, everyone. Bye, Osni.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye, Sandra, or anyone else. Bye.